Welcome to Real Life Mentoring, where we explore real life issues to help you make an authentic difference in the world.
Hi, it's Chris and Christina, and we are jumping into living room conversations, right?
I like how that sounds.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to talk about our dating life.
Our dating life.
Which has been many years ago.
many years ago.
Because we've been married. This December will be 31 years we've been married.
That's right. My goodness.
So
yeah.
I need to take a moment. Okay, that's been so long. What was dating like for us?
Right. Well, let's back up before we do that. Living room conversations. If you are in our close community or a visiting friend or family, that's where the best, richest, most wonderful stuff happens, is sitting in the living room, cup of coffee, cuddle up on the couch with a blanket, just talking and processing through life. And sometimes it's just laughing, sometimes at each other's expense, but we don't like to go there, but just laughing about silly, stupid stuff, but then talking about the real hard stuff. Wouldn't you say that's what our living room does?
It is. It's all of it. And it's a privilege. People have told us for years, I love coming to your home. The atmosphere feels so good. I feel like I can sit on the couch and just be myself and just talk and be listened to. So this is what this is, guys. We want it to be, as you call it, living room conversations.
Yeah,
Is that what
we
you're
just
calling
want
it?
you to cozy up, whether you're driving, you're at home, or whatever. We just want to invite you into our living room.
And why would we share these personal stories, Christina, from your perspective?
I don't know. You have an answer, and so you've asked me that.
It's like when I hear someone's story, I relate to them many times.
Yeah.
And things they have gone through, things they have experienced, the good times, the bad times, they become human to me.
Yeah.
And I relate to them, and it gives me hope.
And we think there's power in people's stories. So when we share, we're not sharing about our dating stories. So you're like, oh, okay. But we just believe that God uses everything to speak to us. And when you hear somebody's story, there may be something that we did horribly wrong that God uses to show you something, or it may encourage you in a relationship. Maybe you're dating. Maybe you want to date. Maybe you've been married for almost 31 years like us. So we share these stories not because they're good stories, but because we believe there's power in what God can do through our story and yours as well. Yeah. Okay, so when we started dating, I was 21.
You were 21.
Yeah.
And I was 17.
Yeah. No, stop.
No, I'm 6.5 years older than Christina, and so
He married a much younger woman.
I would have been 27, I guess.
Right. And so for me, the backstory upon my dating, I was not a big dater. I didn't date lots of people.
Nor did I.
Yeah. I was involved in a really unhealthy relationship because I had a poor self-image and thought, well, nobody else is going to come along that wants me. I say that out loud now, and that just seems so ridiculous. But that's where I was.
You chuckled at that.
I know.
And what did you say? Because no one else would want me.
Yeah. That's where I was. I chuckled.
That's not a laughing matter.
No, but I chuckled going, oh my word, bless my heart. That's where I was. Oof, yeah. My 54-year-old self would tell that 19-year-old self, girl, you have got to know who you are and your worth.
Well, life doesn't work this way, and we've talked about this before, Christina, but we have 3 grown daughters.
Yeah.
And we've said this before. I would not want my daughters dating the Chris Elledge that you started dating many years ago.
Right.
At that age, because I didn't understand my identity. I had so many internal struggles and challenges, and yet that's how life works. We learn as we go along.
Right. Yeah, you do the best you can, but at that age, when I was involved in that relationship, finally I had enough courage, because God gave it to me, to go, this isn't going anywhere. This person doesn't have the same life direction or relationship with God, and so I ended the relationship. But what happened during that time is, it sounds so corny maybe, but I just told God, here's the deal. If I'm a Christian, I want to be serious about it, and I want to know you. And I entered into this relationship where I felt like it was me and God, and there wasn't room for another man to distract me. I didn't want another man. I needed that time to hear what Jesus said about me. Yeah.
Well, let me back up. So before I met you,
Yeah.
I think I was 26 at the time. I was single, not dating anyone. I was lonely. I'd go to work, go home, go to work and go home. And I was trying to follow God the best I knew how. Mm-hmm. I'd go to a church. Again, don't misunderstand this, guys. Going to church is not what we're talking about.
Right.
But I felt drawn to God. I felt drawn to my faith in Christ. And I thought, well, I'll go to a church and find other relationships that can help me
Yeah.
grow. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
So I was lonely, and this is long before internet, long before cell phones, and I was driving on the highway in Oklahoma City area.
This sounds like the beginning of a country and western
It
song.
kind of does, but I won't sing right now. But I'm driving on I-35 north,
Okay.
and I see this large church off the highway. And I thought, wow, that's a huge church. And this is where my brain went. There have to be some single women in a church that size.
So you were really mature.
Very mature, very spiritual. But let's be real, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's being honest.
Right.
And so I got the name of the church, got home that evening, looked up in the Yellow Pages, which sounds so old.
Yeah.
It is. And found out the number. I called the next day. Do you guys have a singles group? They said
Oh, you
yes.
didn't say, do you guys have single women there?
No, I wasn't quite that bold. Do you have a singles group? And they said, we actually are just launching one. And I thought, great. So I went the next Sunday.
Yeah.
Long story short, I did not meet you for almost a year and a half.
Okay.
I met some other single women. It was not a fit. I
Yeah.
tried,
You tried.
I tried. Went on a few dates, but it didn't click for me.
Yeah.
And I met you, and we had great conversations from, I think, the very beginning.
Right.
We were on a similar journey. And anyway, so that's how it started.
Yeah, so I guess what I want you to know about our dating experiences is I was not like a desperate woman. I was not on the prowl to lure a man. It was not on my radar. I was perfectly content about where my relationship with God was, how I was discovering who Jesus was. I was passionate about studying God's word. I was not looking for a man because I'd done that route. And I was really walking for the first time ever in understanding what it means to really have this personal, vibrant, healthy moment relationship with God. So I started going to this church. I was still in college, and I would come home for the weekends, and that's when we met because we both were asked to start to, help this budding college ministry. Yeah. And help develop community within college students. I was getting ready to graduate. Again, you were much older, but you were asked. And so we started to get to know each other. Again, I can't speak for you, but I was not on the prowl. I was not like, honing in on you.
And I joke about it, but there have to be some single women at a church that size. Actually, but I was also content in some ways.
Yeah.
I wasn't just going to date anyone.
Yeah.
God had brought me through some experiences that I was, okay, God, I want to meet the right woman.
Yeah.
And so you've got to date, and sometimes, I guess, in order to do that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't needy either, per se.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were both at a pretty good place when we met, fortunately.
Yeah. I think that's key. We were both at a real similar place. We were content. Would I have enjoyed a relationship? Absolutely. So we met and we start talking. And to me, you're off limits, I say with air parentheses, because A,
I was older.
you were older. B, my friend had a crush on you. And I was like, yeah, you're off limits. But we just started talking. And through that talking process, I'm like, oh, wow. I've never met somebody who has the same thought about whatever that I do. Or, wow, his thoughts really mirror my own or complement my own.
I think a part of the strength of our first conversations was that we just chose to be ourselves.
Yeah, there wasn't like this hidden agenda.
But we weren't originally trying to date each other.
No.
We were just at a singles event. We sat down with each other at a table,
Right.
began to eat and talk. And hey, what are you doing? What do you hope to do?
Right.
We were deliberate in our questions. I guess
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking about now, which took us far beyond surface conversations, because that happens many times out of nervousness.
Right.
When people are looking to date and you have this potential date, you start asking crazy questions that are so surface
Yeah.
and that take you nowhere. But maybe because we weren't looking to date each other initially, that we were
more
able to
be ourselves.
relax to just be ourselves.
Yeah. Rule
Yeah.
number 1, be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself, truly.
Yeah, so let's fast forward. We meet in September. I actually had dated, or went out on a few dates with another guy. You dated another girl. By December, you asked me out. And so what led up to you going, ah?
I don't know that I
gonna
did
ask
that.
her.
No, I just saw a lot in who. No, let's be real. I thought you were beautiful.
Aw.
Okay, I love her for her personality. Well, I did, but you were beautiful. And here's a little side note on beauty. You walk into this classroom of singles, and guys, this is 1989.
Yikes.
And so big hair for women was in.
Yeah,
Well,
mushroom
my
hair.
hair was kind of big too. I had a perm. But, and you had this bright red lipstick. And you walked in, and the first thing I noticed were your lips. And I thought to myself, that woman's got a set of lips on her now. You know, so
Oh, my
guys,
gosh.
people think this way in church as well. Be real. So anyway, no, but you were beautiful physically. But then when I began to talk to you, you seemed so genuine, easy to talk to. Your personality was fun. You had depth to you. And over time, the more we talked, I thought, I want to ask this girl out. And so I asked you out, and it wasn't complicated.
No, and the rest is history. Not really. We had ups and downs in the dating relationship. Some things we did well is we talk. There was a season where you worked that crazy shift at, I don't even know.
It was a manufacturing company.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you would get off work like at 10, and by 11 you'd come home, you'd eat, shower, and you'd call me. Do you remember this? You're
I
looking
do.
like you don't remember.
No, I do.
Okay.
I remember that.
You'd call me like at 11, and so I'd go to bed a little bit early because I had to be at work at 8 o'clock the next morning, and we'd talk from 11, at least an hour, sometimes more, and we debrief the day. We talk about all kinds of stuff during that. Those were really sweet times.
They were. Excuse me. You know, I think we talked a lot about what we hoped for the future.
Yeah.
And that was a motivator for me.
Yeah.
I'm a dreamer, a visionary, so that really spoke to me.
Yeah.
And yet I look back. Okay, let me before I go there, I want to talk about things we should have done
Right.
that we didn't do.
Yeah.
But what are some other good things? We had good conversations.
We had really good conversations. I like that we dated in community, but that's also something that I would change. So we would go out on dates, but it seems like we did more things as group
Yeah. We
than
did.
one-on-one. And that's what I would have changed. Again, we've talked about this a lot, so I'm not saying anything that's going to come as a shock to you, but you did not really pursue me per se, right? I mean, we were in relationship, but I mean, like,
No, I
you didn't romance me.
I did not. I didn't know how.
Yeah.
And I did not do that. And that would have been a nice thing. So,
Yeah.
we can beat ourselves up. So that's not what we're wanting you guys to do.
Right.
What's happened has happened. So if you have to ask for forgiveness from someone, even for yourself, do that and say, now what can I do with this now
Right.
going forward?
Yeah.
Is again, life doesn't work this way, but we are so different than we were when we were dating.
Oh, my word. Yeah.
Because we have years and age and experiences to help to grow and develop.
You said, well, we'll come back to that. What's another thing you said that you wish we would have done differently?
We should have talked about sex.
Yeah.
We're in a dating relationship.
Yeah.
And it's on men's minds. It's on women's minds. It's in our face, even more so now, guys, and with social media and every place. But we didn't talk about it.
Well, I have question marks all over my face. Like, I don't know what you mean by we should have talked about sex, because I think we did talk about like, hey, here's where I'm coming from. I don't want a physical relationship. That was just a core value for me. And I think I remember, like, after a few times of us dating, you never kissed me.
I didn't. Yeah.
and I asked you, what's up? Why don't you kiss me?
Yeah.
Do you remember what your reply was?
I don't.
You said, because I don't want this to turn into a physical relationship. You're somebody that I believe I can marry, and I want to keep our physical relationship pure.
Okay, now that sounds archaic to many.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm telling you, God honors that.
Yeah.
He really does. But it was tough.
Yeah.
What I guess I'm talking, not guess, I know what I'm talking about when we didn't talk about sex. We should have talked about it. Hey, look, this is on my mind sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a man. I have struggles. I have challenges. I mean, sexual lust battles my mind sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in a dating relationship with this beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Those kind of things should have been talked about. But it was like taboo to do
Okay,
that.
I'm still going to pick your brain on that because maybe you should have been talking with a mentor about that and not talking to me about that.
Why not talk to you about it, though? No, I should have had a mentor.
I don't know. That just doesn't feel right. I don't know.
Well, I guess I'm basing it on some younger men that I've mentored over the years.
Sure.
They're talking about these things almost from the first date.
Yeah.
It's like this is a part of life.
Yeah.
It's desires. We have, hopes and dreams about the future with having a wife or a husband.
Yeah.
And that's a part of it. I just find that younger generations, younger couples are talking about it early on.
That's good.
And they and they have boundaries or whatever.
Sure. Okay. The way you're phrasing it, I'm still unsure what you're about. Sure. Talk about your physical relationship. Talk about boundaries. Talk about all those things. And we kind of put it out there, but we didn't go back and revisit and talk about things.
Because, guys, some things in any relationship, they need to go back. You need to back up and talk about it again.
Yeah.
Because it's still a struggle or a challenge or it's not figured out yet.
Yeah.
So what else comes to your mind? I was being authentic and transparent, and yet I had a lot of stuff in my head that I didn't know to get out. Mm-hmm. I remember we had dated to a point where I was pretty sure I loved you, but I wasn't for sure. Again, guys, I should have had a mentor.
Yeah, me too.
Part of my story is that I did not have a healthy father figure raising me.
Yeah.
And so I walked into adulthood, into the real world, lacking so many tools. Mm-hmm. And so I did not know how to date a woman. Yeah. I did not know how to express myself. And if I loved that person, to express it properly. And we're sitting in your car in the back of this parking lot one evening after an event. Uh-huh. And I knew it was coming. I thought, I think she is going to tell me she loves me. And I was getting so nervous, but I thought, I don't know if I love her.
Right.
Excuse me. And because I'm a man of integrity, I thought, I'm not going to tell this woman that I love her unless I know it.
Well, and I was trying to hint around, but then, forget this. So
right,
I'm I just need to know how you're feeling. We've been dating about 6 months.
Right. Our personalities are different that way. And I jumped in and I said, if you're wondering if I'm in love with you, the guys, hear me on this.
I'm not.
No, ladies, give me a break. Hold on just a second. I said, if you're wondering if I'm in love with you, I'm not right now, but when I am, I will let you know.
Crush.
Oh, I crushed you. Now, guys, ladies, please understand.
I was so embarrassed.
I thought that was the kindest way to do it. I was being honest.
You were being honest. I'll give you that.
I should have handled it differently, though, and it crushed you.
Okay, let's just reframe that. You could have said, I think I could potentially love you, but I'm not ready yet.
To commit that.
To
say
commit that.
Well, okay. Again,
so much nicer.
I should have had a mentor and say, okay, look, when you're at a point in a dating relationship and you believe you might love this woman and she wants to know, and you believe she wants to know that, how do you handle that?
Yeah.
What do you say? Because I want to be honest about what I say. I don't want to say, "Oh, I love you, babe," but I really don't. That happens too much in our society.
Right.
So I was trying to be a man of integrity, covered in ignorance. Truly, it was. And that's not a slam. That's how it was for me.
Well, we dated for 2 years before we got married. We dated how long before you asked me to marry you? 1 year and 3 months. 7 months engagement. This stuff just rattles on.
Yeah, about that.
Right.
Yeah.
But we were both dating, knowing okay, this is somebody I could potentially commit to. And we did talk about that. And then at some point, our relationship began to talk about not if we get married, but when. And so we talked through that. Looking back, I wish we would have had a mentor couple say, hey, if you're considering marriage, walk with us. Let's start meeting. Let's talk about what that looks like. Again, hindsight's 2020, right? We were doing things without the input of others, which could have made it a better experience.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I would even say, and this is not being extreme, because we know the power of mentoring, what it can do in people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dating someone you want to date, have a mentor then.
Yeah.
As you're beginning.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there's so many questions you can process back and forth with your mentor.
Right.
I recently met with a young man who's dating a woman, and he said, Chris, I have some questions about this part of our relationship.
Uh-huh.
And we spent about 2 hours processing that together. And I really believe he left that cafe that day with some better understanding and a tool or two, knowing how to better speak into that marriage, that dating relationship.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, our dating story it's our story, right? And there's a lot of things that we would have went back and changed or tweaked because of who we are, things we know now, right? And so the takeaways, what are some takeaways? Well, your story still has power, the good, the bad, and the ugly of your story. Our story, when told, gives insight to other people like, oh, okay, that's good advice. Like, involve a mentor even in these early stages of dating, especially if you're considering marriage. Any other takeaways?
Very much so. Imagine going into a dating relationship, and you don't understand your true identity.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how that messes things up? How it causes problems?
Because that's what we did.
It can.
We were learning,
It
but
just does.
Yeah.
So the better I understand my true identity,
Yeah.
man, what a great guy I could be in dating someone else. What I could offer them. And dating is not about. I grew up with the mentality. Dating is about what I can gain from it, what I get out of it,
Right.
instead of a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's much more we could talk about. So
Yeah.
what else?
I think that's it.
Okay.
So this is one part of a living room conversation about how Chris and Christina started dating. But we hope it's just more than a cute story, that there's some things that you can take away. Maybe you can apply in your own life. You can learn from, oh boy, are there things that you could learn from. So as always, thank you for joining us on the Real Life Mentoring Podcast. We want to thank you, as always, for listening. If today was helpful, if something that you listened to was helpful, we would really love it if you would go to Apple or Spotify, leave us a review, download, subscribe, and for all things related to podcast, if you'd like to give a financial contribution to help us continuing bringing this sort of broadcasting to you, just go to FahrenheitMentoring.org.